everybody. It's another week of Snipes and Stripes. I'm so excited. You know why I'm so excited, Tim Peel?
Why?
Because we actually got hockey last night.
I know.
We actually got to turn on the television and watch hockey after a whole summer off of watching baseball, which sucked. I didn't watch a lot of baseball, but everybody, welcome to Snipes and Stripes. I'm Jeremy Roenick here on nofilter.net. Glad you can join us. My partner in crime, one of the best referees of all time, Tim Peel, joining the show. Tim, you're feeling good tonight? You ready to rock and roll? You know, did you see our podcast, number 5 on the podcast list for the hockey shows? Not bad after the first week.
That's unbelievable, buddy. I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. Yesterday, I was so excited that the NHL season was starting. We had 3 good games to watch. Tonight, I think we've got 6 games to watch. It's the best time of the year. We got a little baseball playoffs. We got hockey starting. It's awesome. I'm ready to rock and roll.
And football's in full swing. So, this is the best time of the year for watching sports. There's no question about it. I will say, for everybody that's joining in, one of the great things about No Filter is we can bring you, the fan, on to get engaged with Peelsy and I. You see the knock button on your screen. Hit that knock button, sign into the app, and I will see that you're trying to get on, and I will bring you on, and we can have a conversation. You can ask a question. You can argue with us. You can tell us we're idiots. You can tell us that we're smart, whatever you want. But the greatest thing about doing a show is bringing in the fan and getting your opinions too. So we'll look forward to that. So let's get right into it. We talked about the games last night. Listen, I give big kudos to ESPN for starting the season with 3 games back to back. I'm out here in the West Coast, so they started at 2:30. I watched hockey from 2:30 until I fell asleep. I couldn't wait any longer to watch the end of the Vegas game. But kudos to the ESPN, and we got to make a shout out to our boy Barry Melrose, who just retired. We got to love Barry. He was one of the greatest ambassadors to hockey, one of the greatest ambassadors to the television world of hockey, and he made a lot of hockey fans really love the game. So we hope that Barry Melrose is okay.
Yeah, I agree, JR. It's very sad. Barry would not want us to be sad for him. I love the video that ESPN actually released that Wayne Gretzky, who works for TNT, narrated, and it was about Barry. And it was a great story. And I didn't realize Barry's first job ever coaching, he was coaching the LA Kings. He went from never coaching to, I didn't know that. I thought he
had the long mullet. He looked like he lived in LA, Mr. LA man, right?
He is the best. For people that have never met him, he's so humble. He makes everybody feel good. And Barry, we're thinking about you. We love you. And there's a lot of hockey fans. I saw JJ Watt tweeted out something last night, the longtime NFL linebacker.
Yep.
That I grew up loving Barry Melrose, and I grew up a hockey fan and loving being a hockey fan because of Barry Melrose. So, you know what? I hope he's doing okay, and he's in Florida, and we're thinking about you, buddy.
Absolutely. I would be very remiss and very mad at myself if we did not mention that.
I'm glad you brought that up.
But yeah, we had a couple of great games. We started last night, watched Tampa. Tampa snuck by Nashville. I'll tell you what, Nashville impressed me a little bit. They had some bite. I was really impressed watching Ryan O'Reilly play in his first game, scored a goal, got an assist. You know what you're going to get out of Forsberg. I thought Soros played some good hockey. They got caught in some penalty situations, and the power play for Tampa was so good. But I'll tell you, I think Tampa is going to struggle this year because I think their 3rd and 4th line are no good. I think they're terrible, especially the 4th line. And you know as well as I do, you can't win a Stanley Cup or win playoff rounds without a 4th line. That we saw that with Vegas last year. And Tampa's 4th line was god awful. It looked like some of them can barely skate. So they stuck by the first one, but I don't see Tampa having an awesome season this year.
It's going to be interesting, and that's a great point. As I think we talked about in our first show, Coop's going to have a very challenging job this year. And, you need a 3rd and 4th line in the NHL. They outshot Nashville 13-2 in the first period. They looked pretty good, but over the next few months, I don't know. I love Coop. Maybe he can do it. Listen, they still got some great players with Hedman, Kucherov, Stamkos, Point. Braden Point's one of the most underrated players in the NHL. Let's give it a month and reassess it in a month from now. But listen, Nashville plays a very disciplined game. I think Barry Trotz will do a great job there as a general manager. Ryan O'Reilly's a phenomenal player. He's still got gas left in the tank. And we'll see where it shakes out in a month from now.
I think Nashville's going to have a better season than everybody's giving them credit maybe for having. But so I don't want to spend too much time on that first game. It was kind of anticlimactic.
It was okay.
The big game that everybody was talking about was Connor Bedard versus Sidney Crosby. Like, what is going to happen? Everybody's talking about Connor Bedard being the next best thing since Connor McDavid, the next best thing since sliced bread. Everywhere you turn, every station you turn it on, every article is about Connor Bedard. And I got to tell you, he did not impress me last night.
Come on. Are you kidding me right now?
What did he do? Right from the from the start of the game, he's in the locker room and he's going to get ready to go out for warm-ups, and the kid forgets the stick. Like,
I bet you
have your stick, number one. So
I bet you forgot your stick a few times. Okay, especially
I never forgot my stick.
I guarantee you,
the most important thing of all time.
JR, I guarantee if it was an afternoon game and you might have had a few too many pops the night before, you forgot your stick. Okay,
not a chance.
Well,
that was my baby. That was my baby. You know how long it took me to tape it? I put almost so much. I've actually even slept with a hockey stick before because I love it so much. I am not forgetting it going onto the ice. Now, granted, this kid has so much pressure on him. So many people are looking at him. So many people are talking about him. I can't even imagine the butterflies that were going through his body last night to start that game, of course, which is why he did leave the stick in the locker room when he was going out for warmups. And he's playing against Sidney Crosby, who is his idol.
Right.
But I think we got to give him a pass for last night. And you do really think that he looked good last night?
I thought he looked great. I completely disagree with you.
What did he do? What did he do?
Okay, first of all, he had 12 shot attempts. He had 5 shots.
Okay, listen, he had 12 shot attempts.
He had 9.
So he missed on 65% of his shots. Okay, which he had 5 shots on net. How many power play shots were there?
He had 9 zone entries. Okay, which is tough to do against NHL.
4 power play shots. You should get shots on a power play.
I don't know if you're this hard on your kids as you are on Connor Bedard.
Listen to me. Like, why shouldn't I be? The
guys,
whole National Hockey League and the whole hockey world is sitting here talking and telling us that Connor Bedard is a generational player and he's going to be the next best thing since Connor McDavid or as good as Connor McDavid. Let me tell you something. If a guy and by the way, I'm not taking anything away from Connor Bedard. I think he's going to be unbelievable. I am just judging the first game. So I'm not being actually fair to the hype.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to sit and watch television and watch PK Subban and Messier and Steve Levy and the guys that are calling the game say how great Connor Bedard was and how awesome it was just because they won the game.
I think your expectations are a little high for an 18-year-old kid. And let me ask you a question. You're kind of comparing him to Austin Matthews when Austin Matthews scored 4 goals in his first game.
He's got way more hype than Austin Matthews.
No, that's a valid point, but
He's gotten way more hype than Austin Matthews. Way more.
I think, yeah, no, he definitely does. But
let me ask you a question. Take away that. Did he do any dazzling moves that brought you out of your seat and went, oh my God, holy shit?
Well, the answer is no.
Okay.
But listen,
my expectations when I'm watching a generational player, a superstar, I want to see in the course of a game 2 or 3 plays where I went, holy crap.
That make you go, wow.
Unbelievable.
Right.
Wow factor.
Right.
I saw not one wow factor.
Let's tune in. He's in Boston tonight. So I'm going to tune into that game. And
absolutely. And he's going to feel much better, right? He's going to feel much more relaxed.
He's playing against Sidney Crosby, his childhood hero. He had to be extremely nervous. I saw the press around his dressing room. It was like the Beatles were
crazy.
In Pittsburgh. It's unbelievable.
I personally think it's a little unfair to him.
It is. I agree.
Because he already has enough pressure within himself because he's that type of person, that type of player. And now the amount, I mean, even Connor Bedard said, if I would even, I'm saying they're talking too much about me, right?
I know.
Enough already.
You know what? I wasn't disappointed in, because you and I disagree. I thought he had a good game, but what I am disappointed in is
I didn't say he didn't have a good
well,
game.
He didn't live up to the expectations that you kind of expected.
Did he live up to them for you?
Yeah, he did. He did. What
are you talking about?
I thought he was good. I thought he was good for his first game.
He's not supposed to be good. He's not supposed to be good. It's Connor Bedard. He's supposed to be great. He's supposed to be great. Now, I also watched him defensively. I saw him lost in a couple defensive areas, out of position in a couple defensive areas. And granted, I'm being picky. No question.
You are.
I'm being very picky. But I can be picky. You know why? Because that's all I've heard of for the last 5 months is Connor Bedard. Connor Bedard. I can't go on to NHL.com and not see Connor Bedard's picture on every article. So I just think they're being a little unfair to him. I think he's going to be better tonight in Boston. Yeah. I hope he's better tonight. But his assist was no big deal. He made a little drop pass to the defenseman. The defenseman shot it on net. There was a rebound, and then they put it in the net.
I know.
That's not a great assist.
Listen,
and it's a secondary assist.
It's
still a point.
Listen, cut the kid some slack. Let's watch some more games, and then we'll come back to Connor Bedard. But you know what? I was disappointed in Pittsburgh, JR. This is a team that is all in right now. They are all in.
They have to be.
Sid Crosby, unfortunately, I was thinking about it last night watching the game. I'm like, God, I'm going to be sad when this guy retires because he's been so good for the league. He's been unbelievable. I don't know how many good years he's got left. Malkin's average now. He's still a good player, but Carlson didn't do anything for me last night. Letang was average. That team is the oldest team in the NHL. Their average age is 30.8, which is kind of scary. And I thought about it today. I'm like, so when they play younger teams, like a team like Chicago last night, do they just run out of gas in the third period? Because that's what it looked like against Chicago.
They were awful the second part of the game. And you know what worries me more? And I think Sidney, I agree with you with Sidney. When Sidney retires and Malkin retires, it's going to be a sad day in my world. It's going to be a sad day. There's no question about it. But what irks me and what would bother me if I was Mike Sullivan on the bench, they've been sitting around for a long time waiting to play because they didn't make the playoffs. First time in 16 years, 17 years.
And who'd they lose to, JR, right?
Who did they lose to? They lost to the worst team in the league, Chicago Blackhawks, and the second worst team in the league, the Columbus Blue Jackets. And all they needed to do is beat those two and they win. Okay? So Sidney Crosby's mad already. And if everybody else in that locker room is not mad that they missed the playoffs and they lost to Chicago, who really ended their playoff hopes for last year, wouldn't you think last night that they wanted to run them right out of the building?
Listen, they made Peter Mrazek look like Patrick Waugh or Marty Brodeur. Like I know the guy can kind of play. He's kind of a hot and cold goaltender, but they're up 2-0 on the Chicago Blackhawks, who does not have a very good team this year. They do not have a very good team. The killer instinct of the Penguins that I remember with Sid was they would put him away in the third period, and I didn't see that. And it concerns me because I had picked Pittsburgh with the additions that they had. I picked Pittsburgh making the playoffs this year, but after watching last night, I don't know.
You have to question it. And I do agree with you. I really do. With some of the additions that they made, I picked them to make the playoffs also. But you also have to look, and let's give the Blackhawks credit. They kept banging. They kept working. They kept coming at him. What Corey Perry did was awesome. He's had a great game last night.
He had some great scoring opportunities.
Yeah, he played great. He did. Right? Give the team credit. Yes, Mrazek was good. But the referees, and this is what I want to talk to you about, especially in the third period, the Letang penalty, which was just a little battle in front of the net and a push, and the guy goes down, and you call a cross-check. He didn't even take away a scoring chance. It was probably one of the most ticky-tacky baby calls that I've ever seen in a game one situation. And it almost seemed like Kelly Sutherland, who we know and love, who's a great ref,
phenomenal.
was being a little bit helpful to the Blackhawks to get them on a power play in the third period when they're down a goal. Just saying.
And he, I'm not saying he did do it, but going back to the second period, there was a high stick with Noel Achari on Tyler Johnson, and they brought in Dave Jackson, the rules expert, and Dave said, yeah, the officials have done a good job here. They got together. They're going to call a double minor, because they were trying to figure out, was it the puck that hit Tyler Johnson or the stick? They called the double minor. They went and reviewed it. I thought 100% they're coming back and Chicago's going to have a 4-minute power play. And they come back and they said, no, there's no penalty on the play. And then
I love the reverse call.
I think it's a terrible call. I don't know what Hockey Ops was doing, because that to me has been a penalty in the NHL for the last 25 years.
But what's it called?
The guy was bent over a bit.
What's it called? What's the penalty?
It's called high sticking. Now the rule
how do you have a high stick when you have the stick right next to you with the way you're supposed to hold the stick? And because there's a guy who's 5'7", 5'8", who also goes down and makes contact as he's going down into the stick. How is that high stick?
No, that's a penalty. That's a penalty. I'm gonna read you the rule. The high stick is one which is carried above the height of the opponent's shoulders. So
yeah, exactly. It wasn't above the opponent's shoulders.
Correct. But what I'm saying is, over the history of the last 25 years, that before video review, if you called that penalty and I had a boss at the game, he would come down after and would say, hey, good catch on the high stick. He wouldn't say, well, he was bent over and it wasn't above the height.
You're forgetting something. You're forgetting something. We do have instant replay now.
I understand. But what I'm saying is, even without having instant replay, the last 2 or 3 seasons that I was in the league, 99, that penalty was called all the time. I can tell you right now, Kelly Sutherland and Brad Kovacic, the linesman, and the rest of the crew, they were shocked when that call got overturned. But they were shocked when that call got overturned, because they felt that they got it right. And I'm telling you right now, JR, I feel like they got it right. And
that's the difference between players and referees, because you guys always think you got it right, and we always think that you got it wrong. We always think that. But when you have a very small player in stature like Johnson, and you have a guy who's holding a stick in a hockey position and does not elevate it, and the guy falls into the stick, you can probably call interference on Tyler Johnson for hitting the stick.
No, I watched the replay 3 or 4 times today. The stick comes up and hits him in the face. You're wrong, but it's okay for you to be wrong. I'm just telling you. Now to go back,
you can't call a penalty when the stick has not come up above the shoulders of the player.
Yes, you can.
The player went below his own shoulders.
Yes,
so you read the rule. And then you also contradicted yourself about having instant replay. So the instant replay showed that they got it wrong, and they got told.
Okay, so move on to Chris Letang.
Right, so
bad call.
So we've
call.
talked about that. I just don't understand why they won't let players battle in front of the net the way that we used to, at least a little bit. Like Letang barely touched him in the shoulders and was pushing him out of the way, and the guy fell down. He looked like a soccer player.
And I think it was Tyler Johnson.
Like a soccer player.
I think it was Tyler Johnson again. And Letang said he's been flopping all night. And that I can tell you right now, Kelly Sutherland was the referee in the neutral zone, 80 feet from the play, 60 feet from the play, that made that call. If he looked at that play after the game, he'd go, that wasn't a good call. You and I talked, you texted me last night, you said, is that a penalty? I go, no, that's not an NHL penalty. An NHL penalty for cross-checking is extending the arms with force and so on. That is not the standard that the NHL wants. That is not the standard that the NHL wants, or can even be consistent. You can't keep that throughout the season. So
I agree. I totally agree. I agree with that. I agree with your set. I agree with your referee assessment on that one.
Yeah.
This is my last comment on the Hawks Penguins game. Did you happen to catch the interview before the game with Sidney Crosby and Bedard sitting in a locker room, all dressed up, looking at each other? Do you
Sorry,
have to see that?
Sorry, I'm falling asleep when you asked me that question because it was I was excited when I saw Bedard and Crosby in this green room doing an interview. They're in their gear. I'm like, this is going to be awesome. It was like watching paint dry. It was terrible.
Dude, they went to commercial and they said Sidney Crosby is going to interview Connor Bedard. I went, what?
Yeah.
Sidney Crosby is going to interview Bedard?
It's going to be awesome.
I had to go to the bathroom. I didn't go to the bathroom because I didn't want to miss this. So I'm sitting on pins and needles. I'm getting ready to watch the interview, and they sit down, and I'm like, and it's over. And I went, what just happened? They didn't say anything. They looked like they were bored, like they didn't want to be there. Connor Bedard is sitting in front of his idol, Sidney Crosby, getting ready to play in the first game. And he's like, well, I don't know, Sid. And, it's going to be fun playing against you. And monotone is an MF.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
I will say Crosby got a little bit okay when he says, hey, take it easy on me tonight, kid. Okay, that was good.
That was it.
But come on, guys, show some energy, show some enthusiasm, show some pizzazz, some personality. It was the worst. I was so disappointed, man.
But see, this is the problem. You had pizzazz, you had personality. There were certain players in the NHL that have it. That's kind of the problem with these young players coming up right now. You interview Austin Matthews. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's like watching paint dry. It's painful. Players ask me, they go, well, what was Connor McDavid like when you refed him? What was Austin Matthews like? I go, I don't know. They never talked.
Okay, I get it though. But let me ask you a question. Okay. I wonder whether the National Hockey League or the teams are telling these kids that they listen, let's not be, superstars on television. Let's not be all,
PK Subban.
Flamboyant. Let's not be all PK Subban. Let's not be all JR, sort of like rah me. Let's stay. I wonder if they do that, number one. But my question to you is, how are these guys on the ice? Are they monotone? Are they quiet? Do they say anything? Like Sidney Crosby doesn't talk to you like that on the ice, does he?
No, Sidney Crosby has got a lot of emotion on the ice. That's what I loved about Sid. Like we got into a lot of FU contests on the ice, and then he'd see you the next shift, and he'd be pat you on the ass and go, "Are we good, Peelsy?" I go, "Absolutely, we're good." I remember.
Why doesn't he bring that passion and that attitude?
I don't know. You know what? Interview? Shame on the NHL if that's what they do as far as curtailing these young players' emotions, because we need more emotion. I remember Brian Boyle from Tampa a few years ago. He was yelling at me from the bench. We were getting into it, and he came out in the ice and he said to me, he goes, "Hey, Peelsy, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have yelled." I said, "Stop right there." I go, "Don't you ever apologize for emotion." I said, "Emotion is good for our game. I'm going to give it back to you. You're one of your old nemesis, Adam Foote. We were going up the ice one night. It was FU the whole way up the ice. We were going at it. He was a competitor. He was a warrior. He came back on the next shift, tapped me on the ass. He goes, "Are we good?" I said, "Absolutely." That's good for the game. Emotion's good for the game.
100%. Yeah, we got to find a way to get more, because you know what? It leads to better commercials. It leads to more people watching, more people interested. And to tell you the truth, these kids will make more money. Not that they need to make more money, but they'll get more excited fans to watch them. They will come and watch because of that. I do want to say something. Rock and Reese said something really cool. Rock and Reese said 12 games last year that the Penguins lost when leading in the third period, and they did it again in the first game. So that's a great stat, Rock and Reese. I appreciate it.
Good stuff.
We've talked about a lot of our fans. I'm gonna go to the knock button because we have one of my favorite people, one of my most eclectic friends, and one of my most non-hockey that I've turned hockey fan into, John Duffin out in Philadelphia. He is a Philadelphia fan, so I'm sure he's watching the Phillies right now, because they are in the baseball playoffs, and he's kind enough to join us here tonight. We'll bring him on. And
eclectic.
Yeah, you are very eclectic, John. It's one of the things that I love about you, because you love life. You live life to the fullest. You don't care what people think about you. You're also a motivating speaker. You help other people's lives, and you've been a big fan of my shows. And now you get to meet the legendary Tim Peel.
Right. And Peel, like I said again, we just instant about 10 minutes before the show went on. So first off, congratulations to both of you. It's great to have the energy. And as you were talking about like ESPN and the NHL and maybe coaching in regards to like the play-by-play and stuff and the lack of energy thereof, that's why these shows are important for hockey fans, non-hockey fans. It's the energy, man. It's like if you're trying to bring people on board, whether it's through this podcast, whether it's through the NHL, it's like that. It's all about the energy. So first off, thanks to both of you for all of that. And I'm thrilled to see you guys. And I really appreciate.
So what's the energy around Philly right now? Obviously, you got
go Phils, go Phils, because right? We got the Eagles are forecast to be 29
Eagles are 5-0. Eagles are 5-0. Are the Flyers going to bring down that mojo? I sure hope not.
Well, I sure hope not either. But this is the prognostication that I just read today was the Flyers are predicted to be 29th in the NHL. So it's not as if they're that face you made. And the other thing, which is really what'll be my question, which is this: the expectations are almost zero in terms of this year, which can be lethal in regards to fan base, all that sort of thing, and any level of interest. But you were talking about Connor Bedard and his first game at 18 and all that stuff. And the hope, I would hope, would be just to let the young players play. But the question is, a major franchise in a major city, just turning this into a exhibition season, is that too risky? Like that's my thought is, what do you do when you have a limited amount of talent and you're still trying to develop to improve in future years? How do you think they're going to go?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm going to let you go, John, because it was awesome, and I'll let you.
Thank you guys
for our answer. We'll see you next week. I love you to death, but that's a great answer, and maybe the two of us can kind of break that down as the Flyers go. It's definitely very disappointing to me where the Flyers are, where the Blackhawks have been. Sorry, I'm hitting all my buttons on my screen. I really think that Danny Briere is going to change this team around. I think he knows what it's like to be a Philadelphia Flyer. It's going to take him some time. I love that Keith Jones is up in the front office helping. I think they got some guys around there. John LeClaire is now in that role over there. There's other couple guys that I do know that have that Flyer mentality that after a certain time, John, and it is going to take some time, that they will turn this team around. But just like any other team, they're going to have to be at the bottom of the barrel in order to get some of these top picks, these 1s, 2s, and 3s, in order to get that player that is going to change that. Now, I think the player that they got, this Russian kid, they can get this Russian kid away from the Russian league and can come over. I think he's going to be dynamic. I think it was a gutsy pick. But I think it's one that when it does come to fruition, when he does come here, he's going to light it up, and it's going to be great. Yeah, that's right. It's Mitkov. That's right. Thanks, Luch.
Mitkov,
I don't know. I want the Flyers to do well. I know you're kind of a Flyer fan.
Yeah, I love the Flyers, and I just to piggyback on what you said, it's the exact same. I think Danny Briere is going to do a good job. Your old colleague, Keith Jones, one of the nicest guys in the business, gets it, treats people the right way. Is just a really good human being. I think they're going to do a tremendous job there. It'll take them a while to turn things around, but I don't think it'll take as long as they think. But I got to give John a little shot because I know he's still listening, and he's in the Philly mode right now. I'll switch to baseball. John, I know you remember when Chris Carpenter in Game 7 pitched against Roy Halladay, rest in peace, Roy, in Philly. And the Cardinals won 1-0 over the Philadelphia Phillies. It was a phenomenal game. I think they both pitched complete games. It was incredible. But
John saying, "Oh brother." John saying, "Oh brother."
Yeah, exactly. Philly's a great town, and the fans, every fan base deserves it, but the fans are so phenomenal.
Well, I love the Philly fan base. I love the Philly fan base. I think they're going to be great. I'm going to wish them all the best of luck, but still, they do need a couple 1-2 picks in order to really change that club around. So I want to move on real quick because I do want to talk about a few games that are going on tonight, but I just want to finish off real quick. We got to give props to the Las Vegas Golden Knights for the way that they came out last night. Here's a team that partied all summer with the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
They were the best team by far on the ice at the end of the season last year. They had a huge ceremony where they're pulling down the big arm bandits on the ice. They're showboating everywhere. There's music everywhere. It was an unbelievable celebration of a Stanley Cup pregame, which and I know when teams do that, they come out flat and as shit, and they end up losing the game and getting outworked. And the Golden Knights absolutely ran Seattle out of the building last night. It was 4-1. It could have been 9-10-2 last night. And the Golden Knights are the real deal. They played exactly like they played in the playoffs in game 1 and impressed me more than any team that I've seen in a long time in an opening game after winning a championship that worked harder than any team I've ever seen in game 1. It was such an impressive team to watch. The way that they went after the puck, their pursuit of the puck, their hits, their stick work, their passing decisions, their goal scoring, their moves, their goaltending. It was from front to back an absolute display of championship caliber that we want to see in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, very impressive, JR. You hit every point there. They've just got a solid hockey team, and everyone's picking Colorado, but man, you got to knock the big boys off first. And I'm watching that team last night, and like you, I'm so impressed by them. They're so good defensively. Aiden Hill looks like a giant in net. Like he's kind of, he has come out of nowhere. It's incredible. They got a great D. They've got good forwards. Marchessault's unbelievable. They're full. Their
fourth line was better than their second line. Their third line sometimes is as good as their first line.
They picked up Barbashev. They picked up Barbashev from St. Louis. Awesome pickup at the trade deadline. They give him a 4 or 5 year contract. He deserves every bit that he's getting. That kid, I watched him here in St. Louis. He's a phenomenal player. They're going to be tough again this year, man. I would not.
Yeah, they're going to. I pride myself a lot on watching the game and being a very big critique guy of where these guys pass the puck. I yell at the television when I see a defenseman just throw the puck aimlessly because he doesn't know where to put with it, or he makes a bad decision, or he panics. Behind the net, full length rushes, tip the puck in, let's go chase for the puck. I was so impressed watching the Golden Knights use each other and support each other and make very technical, well thought of, decisioned passes that I didn't even think that they were going to do. I didn't even see at some points. And they look this way, pass it, and it's tape to tape. And I saw Seattle going like this. Where'd they go? Where'd it go? Where's the puck? And they were like running around like they were chickens with their heads cut off because Vegas just totally overwhelmed them with their precision.
And Jack Eichel really didn't do a lot last night, but wait till he gets going. Like, I don't know if
he worked.
I don't know if you're on the same page as me, but when he was in Buffalo, I wasn't a big Jack Eichel fan. But man,
me too.
Last year he took his game to a whole new level, and he's an incredible.
He did what I think he had a lot of injuries. I think he was on a bad team. I think he was getting a raw deal in a lot of situations. He was, because of his injury, he got into an argument with his team about his own health and well-being. He's in a place where he wants to be, and I think Jack is showing why he was so highly regarded in the draft, right?
JR, I'm watching that pregame show, and I'm watching the fans, and you saw the video of their Stanley Cup rings, right?
Yeah.
Who would not want to play in Vegas?
Are you kidding me?
Pietrangelo, I saw his house in Vegas. It's unbelievable. I worked their first year in the NHL. I was working a Tuesday night game there against Buffalo. Tuesday night game. You would have thought it was Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Like their production, it is all Vegas. Like when they were pulling the slots last night and the cherries are running around, then a pull. Is that not unbelievable? Like
it's the best place to watch a hockey game. If nobody has seen a game in Vegas, I highly suggest going out there and watching any team go in there to play the Golden Knights. It's the best nightclub that has a hockey game going on inside. Right. It's just awesome. And I will tell you this too, the Golden Knights organization is so first class. They give so much access to the media. They give access to their fans. They know how to do it right, and they know how to take care of their fans and their players. I'm going to go out again. I'm going to bring in another guest, Rockin' Reese. I see him on the chat. He's bringing in a lot of really cool things that he's been saying on the chat. So we'll let Rockin' Reese come on board. There he is. What's up?
What's up, Jeremy? What's up, Tim?
Hey.
What's going on, my man? Where are you watching from?
We're watching from Durham, North Carolina. So
fantastic.
I got the kid. Yeah. Although the kids playing right now, there was no way I was missing a chance to talk to you, man. I used to be from Philly, so I used to like cheer for you on the Flyers a lot, dude, JR. So
I love it, Reese. Well, I'll tell you what, I took Carolina tonight. I bet a couple $100 on them tonight against Ottawa, but they're down 1-0. Are you a Carolina fan as well?
Yeah, man. It's like this team, like since I moved here, it's crazy, like with Aho and Fost and all these guys. And I had to tell you, like that Eastern Conference Finals last year was. It was a heartbreaker, man, because it's like
I can
especially
imagine.
that first game, because like being up to 2 a.m. and yeah.
Well, and you know what, Reese? I think you guys, honestly, I think Carolina was the better team. I think they're a better team this year than Florida. I don't think Florida will do what they did last year. And so it must have been tough to watch because Carolina, they're strong up front. They've got great goaltending. They got a phenomenal back end in their defensemen. I think you guys are in for Well, I know you guys are in for a great year.
Yeah, and
Rich,
like
you got a question for us?
Oh yeah, and to a point that JR mentioned, like fourth line, you gotta have that all the way. But yeah, I have an individual question for each of you. Tim, my question for you, as a referee, how did you manage to keep out of the path of the puck while still being able to keep your eyes on the action? Because I'm pretty sure that as fast as that puck's moving, the players are coming at you. It's like how to not impede.
They got in the way all the time, Reese.
No, you know what, Reese? It's a great question, and thanks for watching the show tonight.
Thanks, Reese. You take care, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
It becomes tougher as you get older. And Reese, when the show's finished, you go on YouTube tonight. There's a great play of Robert Bortuzzo, the year the Blues won the cup in St. Louis, and Robert Bortuzzo shoots the puck in and it hits me right in the groin area, and I'm in the corner and it skirts all the ways across the goal line and it beats Roberto Luongo. It was unbelievable that it hit me and went all across the goal line and beat Roberto Luongo. And the best part of the story is I go off because I'm kind of disheveled. I'm like, what the heck just happened?
You must have one hell of a curved stick.
Right? Exactly. And I go in the dressing room. I come back a few minutes later and Roberto goes, Peelsy, are you okay? I said, yeah. I said, but guess what? I'm going to be able to say I scored on Roberto Luongo for the rest. Now, the best part, though, JR, 2 nights later, I'm working the Blackhawks in Florida.
Yeah, but guess what, Peelsy? Guess what? You didn't have a Roberto Luongo after it hit you.
So I'm in Chicago 2 nights later, and they're starting James Reimer's the backup goalie. They're starting Reimer in Chicago. We're skating around. Lou comes right up to me. He goes, Timmy, he goes, they won't even start me now when you're roughing our games.
That's awesome.
I've got the puck back here in my office. The off-ice officials came in and gave me the puck. First NHL goal. It was unbelievable.
You scored against a Hall of Fame goaltender. That was questionable. Thanks, Reese, for that question. We're gonna go in again and bring Luch on. You got to love these. You got to love the fans coming on and asking their questions and get involved in the show. It's one of the greatest things about No Filter. By the way, which our show is sponsored by Whiskey in the Wild. Go to whiskeyinthewild.com and enjoy a little glass of chocolate whiskey with me. I'm gonna have it every show. So we'll wait for Luch to kind of jump on and click on the show, whether he's still there watching. But I think I always wondered that too. Like, you guys got four referees, 2 linesmen, 2 referees. There's not too much space out there, and the speed.
No.
I was always impressed how you guys were able to really stay out of the way of the game, because not too often that I would find where I had to yell at the ref to get the hell out of the way. But you guys do such a good job. Do they teach you that in camp?
Yeah, you know what? They don't really teach it to you, JR. It's kind of something that you just learn yourself. It's as a hockey player, you kind of know where to go and read the play. And it's the same thing as an official. You need to read the play, but it goes back to how the game's changed so much. You think about years ago, you look at umpires, for example, with baseball, a lot of them are overweight. Okay. Next time, the fans that are watching the show and listening to the show, next time you go to a hockey game, watch when the 4 officials come out before the game. These guys are jacked, especially the last couple of years when I was working.
How about Civvy? Civvy's like the Jolly Green Giant. Like, he was
6'9" without skates on. He was 7'2" with skates on, and as a linesman in the National Hockey League, it was unbelievable. Mike Civic. But I'd be in the dressing room the last couple of years of my career, and they were hiring all these young guys because we got a lot of turnover. And I'd look at these kids when they're getting undressed. I'm like, you look like an Abercrombie and Finch model. You're all just ripped, eh?
How about remember Jay Sherers? Jay Sherers was one of the best ever.
One of the best.
But he was big and strong. I remember getting into a fight one time, and Jay got in there. He threw me around like a rag doll. And I was fighting somebody pretty tough, and he just threw me around. I'm like, thank God I wasn't fighting you, Jay. It's okay, JR. It was crazy how strong he was.
But we'd come in up. You'll love this because you can relate to it. We'd come in after, especially my last 2 years, we'd finish the game. We'd come in, and the rookies are making their protein shakes and all their BioSteel and all this stuff. And they go, and the rookies are really good with the officials, just like they are with the players. The rookie officials would say, "Hey, PLZ, what would you like?" And I'm like, "Give me a Bud Light out of the cooler," and they get me a beer or whatever kind of beer I happen to be drinking. But I laugh because they're making their protein shakes.
It's not Bud Light. It's not Bud Light. It's Coors.
Coors Light, maybe Stella. We need a Stella sponsor, maybe. Who knows? So. Yeah, it's these guys they're ripped. They're ripped. You got to watch them. They're phenomenal skaters. No,
it's awesome. So tonight we got a couple great games to watch. We just talked about Connor Bedard, Chicago's in Boston. That game just started. Montreal is again making the Toronto Maple Leaf fans, giving them fits. It's 1-0 Montreal. It's 1-0 Montreal towards the end of the first period. Our buddy Joe, who's the biggest Montreal Canadian fan, who was he's our boss here at No Filter. He's like, plus 300. I'm putting money on Montreal. They always beat Toronto in the first.
That was
game.
A good play.
It is.
That was a good play. Right.
They are the Toronto Maple Leaf killers to start every season, because Toronto Maple Leaf they've already like set up the parade for the end of the year. Then after game 1, they go, "We suck. We suck. We're terrible." So it's 1-0. It's 1-0 for Montreal.
Joe, don't go out and spend that money yet, because I still have faith that Toronto's going to come back in this game. So
we got a great late game tonight. We got Colorado at LA. I think two teams that have a real shot to win the Stanley Cup. I think Calgary is going to make a push this year. I think they were embarrassed last year. I want to see Huberdeau wake up and realize that he's actually a high-paid, very good player, and not whine that he's sitting in Calgary right now. And I think Calgary is going to be much better this year.
Our buddy Panger's doing that game on TNT tonight, JR, the LA Colorado game. That's a game I want to watch. LA's got a tremendous team. Colorado. I didn't know this, but Jonathan Drouin, who signed with Colorado in the offseason, he played with Nathan McKinnon in junior hockey, and they've been playing them together on a line together. So it'll be interesting to see, because Drouin, as you know, he's kind of been average in his career, right? He's just kind of never really
it just never panned out.
Lived up to those expectations,
that's
right?
because I think he's afraid of his own shadow. I think he's not that tough. I don't think he likes to go into the high traffic areas, and I think he has a little bit more higher expectation or view of himself than
that's
how
a good
he can
point.
really play.
Yeah. The going back to Calgary, you know what? It'll be interesting to see. I am not going to sit here. I can't beat up on Daryl Sutter. Daryl Sutter, I love the Sutters. For whatever reason, the players didn't like to play for Daryl last year.
No, a few players that came from the country of Sweden. You guys on the show can look at the roster and you can depict which ones, but it's the certain guys from Sweden that literally set up and came together and said, we don't want to play for this guy anymore. Yeah. And I think that's BS. I think that's bullshit, but it happens in sports. I can't say that I liked all my coaches, because I didn't. There's only one that I wanted to get fired, and that was Don Hay. And I did not care whether everybody knew that I wanted to get him fired. But where
did Don Hay coach you?
In Phoenix. He was my first coach in Phoenix. And it was an East Coast League coach. And
was he a terrible coach?
He was a terrible coach, and he didn't like me. And I heard a rumor that he tried to get rid of me for a bag of pucks because he didn't like me. So it's kind of probably one of the reasons why I didn't like him. But that's a story for another day. I had a lot of great coaches.
Do you think Calgary can be a playoff team?
I do. I think they're going to be a wild card team. I don't think they're going to be up there in their division, but I think they're going to be a wild card team. I think they have the players. I think Kadri's going to have a better year. He better. I think Huberdeau's going to have a better year.
Kadri was terrible last year.
And all the players there know why Sutter got fired, and they're going to be under scrutiny too. So their players are going to be looking at some of these guys, making sure that they play the right way this year. So I'm actually looking forward to Calgary. I love Calgary. I love the city. I love the fans.
I love it.
Big fan.
I'm a big fan of Jacob Markstrom, the goalie. He's one of the nicest guys you'd ever meet. He's got to have a rebound year. He wasn't very good last year.
We're gonna bring in another guest. We're gonna bring in Anthony Carlucci to maybe chat about something at the end before we wrap up the show. See what kind of question he has. But again, we got a lot of really good games this year. What's up, Anthony?
Oh, we got us. I love this guy already, JR. He's got a Blackhawk jersey on for you, and he's got his referee jersey in the background.
He's representing everything. He's got the Rangers hat on. He's got the Hawk shirt, and he brings on my partner and gets the zebra stripes in the back. Anthony, I love your passion. I love you coming on the show. Where are you coming in from?
I'm in Brick, New Jersey, home of Jimmy Dowd.
Jimmy Dowd, that's right, old Jimmy Dowd. Yeah. Well, listen, you do have a Ranger hat on, but you do have one of the best teams in the National Hockey League right down the street from you. Clark Griswold, good old Clark. I love the vacation reference. I love that too. But you're a Ranger fan. You're not a New Jersey fan. New Jersey's arguably probably a better team. You know that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. I think picking up Toffoli over the offseason, that definitely helped them out with the two Hughes brothers. I mean, how can you go wrong with these guys? You got Timo Meyer now.
So are you at those games when it's a Ranger Jersey game? Are you there? You're definitely not missing it. I can probably imagine that, right?
Unfortunately, I went to the the preseason Rangers Devil game. What was that, last week? And the Rangers got beat up by the Devils.
I love that they gave Lindy Ruff an extension today. And last year, after Game 2, they were chanting "Fire Lindy." Like, it's unbelievable. Lindy, as you know, JR, Lindy Ruff's one of the nicest guys you'd ever meet. Tommy Fitzgerald in New Jersey's doing an incredible job. Awesome. The players obviously love to play for him. It's a fun time to be a Jersey fan.
Yeah, it really is. Anthony, you got a question for us?
I wanted to just say that I came across one of your videos the other day, and it was of you dancing on the ice.
You know, it's so funny. I was on a plane. I was actually on a plane. I was on a plane coming back from Italy, and I scroll through TikTok all the time. And I scrolled through, and I saw this TikTok that said, "This is why hockey players are great." I said, "Hey, that's me. That's awesome."
That was the best with Cool and the Gang.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I got a lot of shit from my general manager at the time with LA. I didn't really care.
Was that Dean Lombardi?
Yeah, Dean Lombardi gave me so much shit about doing that and said I embarrassed the team. I'm like, no, I didn't. I said I had fun with the fans. It was a preseason game in Las Vegas. Preseason game in Las Vegas. Who doesn't want to have fun? 20 minutes that the game stopped because they couldn't fix the glass. So you know what I did? I entertained the fans. That's what you're supposed to do. I didn't embarrass anybody. That's exactly what needs to get out of the game, right? Is that kind of mentality. I didn't let anybody tell me I couldn't do it. Screw that.
Exactly.
That was great.
Well, I appreciate that, Anthony. Hey, listen, make sure you tune in every week, okay? We really appreciate you coming on and supporting. And thanks for supporting even the referees.
Quick shout out to Barry Melrose with having Parkinson's. I just want to let you guys know that my brother's got Parkinson's, the same thing.
I'm sorry.
He's going through it. He got diagnosed a year ago. And just real quick, you guys know what that bad boy is?
What is it?
That is
Hobie
the Hobie Baker.
Yeah.
My brother won the Hobie Baker back in the 1981.
No way.
That was with when Broughton won it.
What was his name? His brother's name, Anthony.
He won it in Division III hockey. Jim Carlucci.
Good for him.
Good for him. Well, listen, give him our best. God bless him and all of our best wishes to him. Make sure he joins the show too next time, but we'll see you next week. Okay, pal?
Thank you guys for letting me on.
Thank you.
Hey, guess what, Peelsy?
What?
Guess what, Peelsy?
What?
Connor Bedard just scored his first goal.
I saw that. I told you were being too hard on the kid. Holy left it. Oh my goodness gracious. You're like, right? You just want to jump on him after the first game.
I love it. I'm so happy he scored in my hometown against the Boston Bruins, my team I used to watch. You know, you always remember who you scored your first goal.
Sure.
Both goaltender and team. And that couldn't have been a better time to play. I don't think it's going to be a better time for Bedard to score because he just took a load of shit from me. And now he scores his first goal. I love it.
JR, 100th anniversary of the Boston Bruins, buddy. 100 years.
It's pretty unbelievable.
Hey?
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable.
So you grew up, I assume you grew up a Boston fan then?
I did. I grew up a Boston fan. I grew up, Rick Middleton was my idol.
Absolutely. Oh, I love Rick Middleton, yeah.
Nifty Ricky. Loved his hair flowing all over. Loved the way he skated. That was my guy. So congratulations for Connor Bedard for scoring his first goal. The Chicago Blackhawks are off and rolling again. I don't think the Boston Bruins are going to be any good this year. I know they still have Pasta. They still have Marchand. But you can't get rid of a guy like Krejci, a guy like Bergeron, and expect to have a great season this year.
You're so out to lunch on that. I told you last week they're making the playoffs. I guarantee it. The Boston Bruins are making the playoffs.
You're crazy.
No,
I'll bet you $100 right now that the Boston Bruins don't make.
I'll bet you $1,000. Okay.
$1,000. Okay, you're on. $1,000. Bruins do not make the playoffs this year. Okay.
It's done. We got a lot of witnesses. Okay.
You're on. I know that there's a lot of people looking forward to the games this weekend. Let's pick a couple games on the weekend that we like because I just think we have such a great lineup of hockey that's coming on board that on the weekend there's some great games. I mean, there's like 18 games. It seems like on everybody's playing. My Philadelphia's at Ottawa. Unfortunately, Ottawa's going to beat the crap out of my Flyers. I hate to say that. God, that kills me for saying that.
That was going to be my game.
That's your game? Okay.
No, I can pick another one, but I agree with you. It's a 12 o'clock start in Ottawa. You know what? I just think you know what? Things aren't just rosy and unicorns right now in Ottawa. Pinto's not signed. Josh Norris is still out with that shoulder injury. And, you know, there's a lot of expectations for Ottawa this year. They are 1,000% expected to make the playoffs, JR.
I think Ottawa makes the playoffs. Ottawa makes the playoffs.
If they don't, heads are going to roll. Because
you know why? Ottawa's going to make the playoffs? Because they're going to knock Boston out of the playoff race.
No, they're not.
They're going to beat them in front of them. So
listen,
that's why that's going to happen.
DJ Smith, if they get off to a bad start in the first 60 days, DJ Smith is gone. Joel Quenneville's the new coach of the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, we got some good games though. Chicago's going to be at Montreal, so Bedard's going to go up there. That's going to be a crazy game. I think Chicago's going to keep rolling. If they win tonight, I think there's no question they win up in Montreal again with that excitement with Bedard going up into Montreal. That place is going to be electric. And when you play your first game in Montreal, I'm telling you, it's an experience. And Bedard is going to absolutely love his first game.
Oh my God!
Up in Montreal, it's an amazing experience.
You're so right. It's hard to explain to the listeners the electricity in the building. Hey, JR, in Montreal, I remember when Mario Lemieux was playing for Pittsburgh, and he would come into town in Montreal. It wasn't just the electricity in the building; it was the electricity in the city the entire day. You could just feel, hey, Mario's in town. The Pittsburgh Penguins are in town. Every playoff game I ever worked there, you come out, they got that red carpet for the officials. You come out of there and you're pumped up. You don't need a Red Bull to get you going for the game.
No, not at all.
But the game, if I was going to place a bet, the game that I would pick that I think there's no way that they can lose this game is Colorado's in San Jose on Saturday night.
Why don't you go out on a limb? Why don't you go out on a limb? Go on a limb.
Well, I already picked Ottawa. I'm just giving you a couple.
Worst teams in the league. And again, this kills me to say this because I love San Jose. I love the fans. I love the team. But they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league this year, and it hurts me. And Colorado is one of the best. So way to go on a limb on that one, PLD. Way to go. Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go out on a limb in a game that I'm going to really like to watch, and a team that I'm really going to like to watch this year. And that's the Detroit Red Wings. And I'm going to say this right now. Patrick Kane's not in the game. Patrick Kane's not playing right now. He's rehabbing his hip surgery. You have Alex DeBrincat, who just went from Ottawa to Detroit. Detroit's going to be a good team this year. They're going to be very exciting to watch. And don't be surprised if Patrick Kane ends up in Detroit playing with DeBrincat again, because Patrick Kane was pissed when DeBrincat got traded from the Chicago Blackhawks to Ottawa. He was pissed. And, Detroit is where Patrick Kane grew up playing. As Buffalo also. He played there with the national development team. He likes Detroit. It's close to his parents. They got an up-and-coming team. Don't be surprised if Patrick Kane goes to Detroit, and don't be surprised if Detroit beats Tampa on Saturday. That's my prediction.
That's a good pick. I like that pick. And Stevie Yzerman, who, as you know, is one of the smartest guys in hockey. He's doing a tremendous job there. He's doing a slow rebuild. He didn't come in there and say we were going to change it in the first year or two. He's doing it the right way. I agree with you. They're going to have they should battle for a playoff spot this year.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Without question. Yeah. Without question. I love Reese says I'd like to see Detroit return to the glory days. And, even though I can't stand Detroit because I'm a Hawk, I have a lot of respect for him. Stevie Yzerman is going to turn that team around. And I think this year they're going to make a big, big push towards that playoffs. There's no question. Okay, we got one last thing before we close this show down. And I know we try to stay away from politics stuff or social stuff, but I just have to talk about this. The National Hockey League came out with a press release saying that there will be no pride nights, no pride jerseys, no nothing. You can't even use pride tape on your sticks to honor the LGBTQ community. I don't care what you think of the LGBT community. I am a fan. I will say I would wear the jersey. I would put the rainbow on my stick. I have no problem with that. Trans community is a little bit different as pertain to where they should go and who they compete against. That's a whole nother story. But as far as the pride aspect of it, I think the league missed this one again, just like they missed it last year when they wanted and required the teams to do a pride night and for the players to wear their jersey. Mm-hmm. We saw what happened with Reimer in San Jose. He refused to wear the shirt, the pride jersey, because of his religion. And he got absolutely ridiculed and ostracized on social media to no end. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that the league should make people do what they don't believe in. The National Hockey League, they have players from all over the world, different cultures, different backgrounds, different religions. For the face of the team, you have to at least honor their beliefs. Now, I say that for a reason, because I don't think that the league should make somebody do that. And if they don't, they get really put out to the wolves because that's not a team. You don't leave your teammate out to get crushed by the social media, warlords, which it happens. However, my opinion, I'd be very interested to hear of yours. If there's a player in the league who really supports the LGBTQ, or maybe has a sibling that's a part of that culture, and they want to celebrate for their reasons only, they should be able to put a rainbow tape on their stick and personally support and do that. I totally agree with the personal support. We shouldn't stop people from letting them express their beliefs. Right. You just can't make people express the beliefs that they don't believe in. But I think the National Hockey League kind of missed this one a little bit. And I think if somebody wants to put rainbow tape on their stick for a game, let them do it. Right. It's not gonna piss anybody off. And I also think that the LGBTQ community is taking this a little bit too far, and I would be interested to hear yours. Just because the NHL is saying this doesn't mean the NHL doesn't believe in LGBTQ.
Correct.
They love the community. They just want to protect all of the players in their organizations to make sure that their beliefs and rights are safe also. But I know Gary Bettman in the league really enjoys and really wants everybody to be a part of it. So what do you think?
It's I've got a couple different views on it. I'm glad you brought it up tonight, because I agree with you. I think Gary and the league want to include everybody. I do not agree with if Ryan O'Reilly wants to put pride tape on his stick during a warm-up or even during a game. I don't understand why that's banned. Personally, my sister, my only sister, her son Matthew is obviously my nephew. I love him to death. He's gay. When he told me, I go, yeah, I figured you were gay. I didn't care. I love him like that. I love him. I don't care. So I feel bad because I feel that that community maybe feels a little bit like they're not wanted in the NHL, and that makes me sad. And I feel like politically I'm pretty down the line. I look at both sides, and I'm a pretty even-keeled guy. The only problem I do have is I took my daughter Brielle to Blues game, second last game of the year last year, and the Flyers were in town, and it was Pride Night. She's 9 years old. She asked me what Pride Night was. I changed the subject. Not because, obviously, I don't have friends that are gay. I don't give a shit. But all my point was, JR, when I had that discussion, and I still haven't with Bronson and Brielle, my two kids, I want to have it on my terms, in my house, under my conditions, and explain to them what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole other conversation, which is true. So, we can't keep people from expressing themselves, whether they're in support or whether they're actually in their own flesh and blood.
I think the players should be able to express that. You talked about personality earlier, and I think you mentioned about the players expressing their personalities and so on. It's the same thing. If they want to support LGBTQ, 100%. I support 100%. It. If they gave me a referee jersey with the rainbows and said, Peelsy, this is Pride Night, you're wearing the referee jersey, I'd be proud to wear it. Yeah, because they should be, right?
Me too. Listen, you can't make everybody do it, but you shouldn't stop individuals from expressing themselves, because I don't think you're not going to get the same backlash. And let's hope that the National Hockey League allows players to express when they want at certain times. So
well, Brian Burke, who has a big voice in hockey and not just in the National Hockey League, but in USA Hockey, he issued a statement today basically saying he was very disappointed in the NHL and what they said.
Well, I think the National Hockey League, is really trying to walk a thin line when it comes to these social issues. I think, you know what, just stop with the social issues. Just let people be who they are. Let people be who they want to be. Mm-hmm. Let them express the way they want to be, and just let life move on, because all of us would be better people if that happened. So we're going to leave it at that. And we are going to end week 2 of Snipes and Stripes here on nofilter.net. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. Thank you to all the guys that joined. John Duffin, you got Reese, you got Rockin' Reese, Luch, we tried to get you on. Anthony, we love the fact that you joined. It's one of the greatest things about No Filter is that you, the fan, can be part of the show, and you guys give us great content. Great show, Tim. Awesome. You brought your mojo. Can't wait for the weekend. We're going to have a lot to talk about next week. So welcome to another edition, and I hope we see you guys all next week. Have a great time, guys.